So for positioning, okay, you see the screen crack here? We had a hard time getting aggro, re-getting aggro, because look, no one's targeted, so whoever really attacks gets it, okay? And as a paladin with no cooldowns up, I was attacking it and just could not pull aggro. So it jumps around here just a little bit, but here's what we did right here. Just pay attention to this. So our goal was to have everyone but the aggro on this right corner. Basically in the right corner, waiting for these statues to turn white. Any of these. Obviously avoid the pools on the ground here. But you'll see once we get situated, so they're all standing on the right, waiting for this pool to be gone, staying away from the boss, because the boss will actually hit here and turn this statue purple. You don't want that. So that's why, again, we're dragging the boss away from the team, away from the statues, so that they can cleanse. Look at this, like that statue turned purple. That statue turned purple from the attack. That statue turned purple from the attack. So this is just wasted time, but you'll see here, it's going to be wasted time for no matter what, because look at this. Screen cracks coming. About 30, 45 seconds in. So ideally, in the perfect world, okay, we drag the boss left, everyone stands on the statue, a white statue, and fills this gauge here in that 30 seconds before the screen crack. No one is attacking at all. It is not valuable to attack here because I'll talk about it later. The shield on the boss is 90% damage reduction. Okay, 15% per each stack, you'll say in the patch notes. Okay, so 6 stacks for 90% damage reduction. So even if you're attacking the boss, you're not doing any damage. Okay, so that's why it's important. Just make sure you have a white statue available for this screen crack. Be patient. Do not rush it. Iframes do not work for the screen crack. Okay, so you can see everyone filling their gauges here that whole time, ideally as soon as possible, and then it lines up nicely where once the boss gets to the corner here, everyone's almost filled their gauge, or probably have, and they're making their way. Okay, and this is what we're talking about here. Oh, proc Devin's door. So this, once the gauge fills here, this goes off. And so the gauge is filled by a few ways. This standing on the white statue and attacking. Okay, there's 2 ways. There might be a third, but these are the main 2 ways. Standing on the statue and attacking the boss. Okay? And again, we're trying to get 6 stuns of this. So here's what happened. Look, the boss is stunned right now. This is just a normal stun. See a stun. Okay? So the crazy part about this is if you time it right, your stun's right, it is insane uptime on DPS. Okay? So we actually could have played this a little bit better too. So we have room to grow. But stun 10 seconds, okay? You'll see the timer here. Then the shield is off, okay? The shield is off, so we're getting full 100% damage. And then it goes into this position. It's kneeling. This comes up after 10 seconds, okay? Saying that the curtain came off. So they are on completely different cooldowns. When the actual shield comes off, when he's in this position, it's about 15, almost 20 seconds of uptime. So you can time it right, 30 straight seconds of DPS. So what we did, and I think this is where we could have did better, was we had, if your gauge is close to filling, you actually step off. Okay, because you don't want to put release this gauge, this stun, onto the boss that doesn't have the shield up, right? It's kind of wasted, and it takes a while to fill the gauge. Okay, so I would say what we did sort of is what made it so successful, but it takes sacrifice from these players, right? Because look, he's going to be standing here for 13, from 513, doing no damage here, and he probably procced it there just by his passives. But look, he's just standing there for 13, 14, 15 seconds while this shield is back up. Okay, 16 seconds. That's a little bit too long, okay? But just now you got to understand how, if you can time it out right, that stun into this shield, knowing how long each of them last, you may be able to just DPS through it, right? But in our situation, they were patient. They played the role. We didn't know any better, right? But now we know. And then once the shield came back up, we hopped back on, and look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. whatever that was, bang, shields back down. Within, what was that? Within 7 seconds. So the shield comes up right about here, 57. So there's going to be a small window, right? It's going to be 5, 6, 7 seconds at the shortest. Okay. So at this time, the boss could dash right into everybody. The crystals could pop on the ground. All things can happen. You'll see it later on. But we get that shield off, even perfectly timed, within 7 seconds. Okay. Now for 450 here, let's see how long it is between shields again. Okay. But this time, right, some of these shields are going off. But if the shields went off to break that shield, the stuns went off to break the shield, it takes a while to fill this gauge. Okay. So from 50, 450 here, people are standing off. 435, so 15 seconds, right? And then people, bang, perfect time. Look at that. Everyone just jumped back on. And again, 5, 6 seconds that time. What was that? Yeah. So even better timing. The team did a great job. So this is probably the strategy, right? 6 seconds. And the nice thing about this, guys, is that boss is actually supposed to spawn screen cracks over here during every 30, 45 seconds, 30-ish seconds. Okay? But because it's stunned here, it skips it. So here is where most people may get into issues, right? You see immediately as the statue comes off, aggro switched. Okay? Melee rings, it switched to melee rings, who's over here attacking. So look, the boss is going to face left and start attacking. So we're just telling the team, be careful, watch the pools on the ground, the crystals, and there it is. Bang. You can't even see it, but we were already preemptively talking about it, knowing that if it started facing right, crystals are coming. Okay? So in this instance, it's not, the crystals pools aren't very long. It's about 3 seconds, I think. So don't overreact to it. But if you start dying here and it starts getting a little chaotic, the best thing to do is for them, these people, to stand on this statue. Make sure the gauge is filled and let this boss, even if this boss is attacking here, back and forth, it's not going to hit this statue ideally. So just, you can even go one statue further off to the edge, off the screen, to make sure that you are undisturbed with the gauge filling, because getting attacked and the purple actually will reduce it. Okay, so we timed it perfectly there with that stun. Again, people did a great job just dodging the pool and then attacking and then coming back up and breaking the shield, and GG, right? Simple as that. The DPS is insane, right? But the mechanics are even better. The team, we had a plan, we were patient. People stepped off and did no DPS for 15, 20 seconds when the boss is just standing there stunned, risking their DPS in order to get that timing right, to proc those shields and reduce that downtime and just reduce the amount of chaos and crystals that the pools on the ground that can kill everybody, right? No one died in phase 3. So a lot of people that you see, if you watch their videos, it takes them 5 minutes here. It gets chaotic. People didn't know about this. They just brute forced it. So now that they know, hopefully, this boss is so straightforward, guys. Just be patient. Phase 1, do not rush into DPS. You can make up the DPS in phase 2. Phase 3, step off the boss, especially if you're the lower DPS. Like these are like support by damage, right? Is a full 60 shade. People are stepping off early. These are main carries in most runs. Stepping off, taking the time to make sure that they're doing the mechanics right, and look at the results, right? Look at the results. So shout out to the team. I think it was very hard to do that, and we learned, right? Maybe they could have pushed through it. Maybe they could have proc the shield and still had it come up in time. Maybe. But each team is going to be different on how their composition is and their DPS and how much, sometimes they got to squeeze in that extra 10 seconds of DPS because they're running down to the timer, right? Each team is going to be different, but that is just what we did in our situation. We will, we'll have more teams with less gear that have to change things up. But I think the bones of the strategy and the mechanics are there, right? It's very easy for a top DPS, top 2 DPS, top 3 DPS to really carry this run and have the rest, the bottom 5, really just be those shield bearers, those breakers, stepping off, timing it perfectly to break that shield and allow the DPS to just stand there and tunnel and burst and DPS, not die, not worry about getting stunned or interrupted or anything, and just maximize your DPS. Play a role. If you're someone that's on the lower end of the DPS as well, play your role. Understand that. If you're the aggro, just stay alive. Stay alive, position. It's totally fine. Right? So hope this helps you guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll have more, obviously, hard Archon content. We're going to try to get more teams, clears, get on my Demon Slayer, things like that. Get people more playing the content, playing the boss. Hope this helps you guys get those clears and enjoy it, because once you get used to it, it's smooth sailing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.